today's discussion, the mechanisms that knives run on, the knives that run on bearings, knives that run on washers, assisted open mechanisms, as well as automatic auto knives. What's the primary difference, pros and cons? First thing first, when there are too many moving parts in a knife, the knife is more prone to failure. And what I mean by, let's take as an example this Paragon Auto XD model. You see, here we have few moving parts. So we have the button, the inside spring, and few openings, open spaces. So when you're really seeing it, carrying it every day, there are pocket microparticles that get inside, little pieces of paper, dirt, etc. Or if you were to drop the knife on the ground and if you carry and use it every day, sometimes it happens, it falls off your hand. And if the ground dust gets inside, yeah, then you need to either take the knife apart. In this case, with Microtech Tradun, you would need to go on their website, purchase their tool, which is quite expensive, close to $100 or $80, or send it back to service, wait few weeks and get it back. But who would want to send a knife, wait couple of weeks and get it back? When you're seeing knife, that's your primary tool. That's like, and for me, the knife I carry, it's like an extension of my arm. When I take it out of the pocket, when I open up, the action has to be fast. I don't need to deal with any kind of mechanical failures. So So that in a way determines what I'm going to EDC for a day. Uh, I might want to carry auto, but if I'm going camping, going in the woods, I might say, okay, that's not going to be practical. I'll take either my 4 Max or anything else that runs on washers. And why I'm making this decision? Well, let's start with knives that run on bearings. Bearing action is the most smoothest. It's like a music to your fingers. It's so smooth, it's so perfect. It's like it's the most enjoyable action, I would say, for me personally. I can just keep flipping the knife over and over and never get tired. On the contrary, I could enjoy this, doing it for hours and hours. And that's the action on bearings. However, there's also downside, as I've mentioned before, with the case of the autos. Within the bearings, pocket dust, the micro elements, mini particles of paper and whatever little things always wind up and get stuck inside in the bearings. So what you need to do is either once a month or once every other month at maximum. If you're EDCing every day, once every third month, you need to take the knife apart, take the bearings out with alcohol rub, clean it, let it dry, oil it, and put it back. And the knife is as good as new, actions perfectly smooth, but not many people like to do that. There are knife fans that don't like to take their knives apart. Even though it's very easy, even though it's very simple, they just don't like doing it. So with the knives that run on bearings, you do expect to do that. In a way, same thing I could say with the assist opening. Assist openings, now it's got an extra spring, if you see here. So here the system is more prone to failure than, let's say, knife that runs on bearings. With bearings, if dust and other particles accumulate, they get stuck in the bearings, the action works slower. But here, if something gets stuck in the spring or something happens to the spring, the knife's pretty much useless, as well as in automatics. So again, back to my first point, the more moving parts, the more knife is prone to failure. In this Assist Open Benchmade, when I carry Benchmade Barrage 581, I need to clean this knife few times a year, at least 3-4 times a year. I need to send it to Benchmade because taking this apart and putting it back is not as comfortable and as fun as my other knives. The Assist Open system, it's in Benchmade. I gotta hold it from both sides, put it in position, and at the same time put the rest together. And I don't have 3 or 4 hands, so it's a little bit uncomfortable and unenjoyable. But who wants to send a knife, wait 3-4 weeks, usually with Benchmade it's about 3 weeks, and then get the knife back? If you are looking for a knife that is a hard-working horse that you might never even need to take it apart, the best is the simplest classic design knives. The simplest knives are the knives that run on washers. Now, as with any other knife, some kind of dust particles, of course, could enter here and accumulate over time, but you can clean it with a compressed air very easily. You can even clean it with hot water running at high speed, creating a dishwasher effect. Let it dry right away, dry it up, oil it, and the knife is as good to go. You might never ever need to take a knife apart, the knife that runs on washers, and my preference is phosphorus bronze washers. I think they are more hard use, they will last you more, and you will probably never need to take that knife apart. That's why, for example, when I've been asked the question, what would you recommend as a first knife to someone who's a new to knife world, I've always said, get the simplest knife. And my recommendation has always been Ontario Red 1. Runs on 2 phosphorus bronze washers, about 50 to 70 bucks. Fairly simple construction, D2. Best first budget knife for anyone who wants to be introduced to the knife world.